Charmeleon, Water Turtle, Mewtwo, Tentacle, Aerodactyl, Armanite, Slowbro, and then I'm lost. Pokémon went just insane when I was in about year 7 at school. I remember talking to this geeky kid next to me like, "Psst, you play Pokémon?" And he had Pokémon Stadium. I'm like, "I'll go round to your house." It's like a weird cult. It was, I mean, we'd had crazes before, like yo-yos and pogs and things, but nothing quite captivated my year group in the school as much as Pokémon.
I think the first time that I saw Pokemon was on the cartoon, and I remember seeing it in the morning one day. I don't know if it was a school day or I don't know when it was on, but I remember it was the episode where Ash caught Caterpie.
And Ash is actually the worst Pokemon trainer ever.
People say he's like the ultimate trainer, but he doesn't win anything.
He annoyed me because he never caught Pokemon. We encountered Pokemon all the time, but he never caught them. He's like, "Oh, I'll go to the rock gym. I'll use Pikachu." It's like, "Oh, I'm fighting Raichu. The evolved from Pikachu. Go Pikachu!"
A long-standing memory, or just something that's come up, and now I refer to it a lot weirdly, and it's when Ash, enters the Pokemon League.
In the game, this is the end point. You've been training to this moment. You've got your top team, and you might even not be good enough yet. And what he does in the cartoon is get his Krabby. This
isn't going to work because it's going to be level 15 or something.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
And then it evolves into Kingler, so obviously it was higher level. And then halfway through the battle, and then I think he wins that one, but then loses the thing in general.
He powers through on stupidity, and he gets away with it. And he doesn't even earn most of his badges.
He wins them because he helps.
And he'll put out a fire or something, and they go, "Oh, you did well today, Ash. Here's your fucking grass badge."
As if it's like a Medal of Honor, rather than actually beating anybody.
And then I remember Charizard hated him. He didn't. And I sided with Charizard in that one, because Ash was just a moany. Yeah, I like Brock. Brock was a bit of a perv. He would always get all flustered in front of girls and things and do that weird thing with the funny face. And they played up the Misty Lights Water Pokemon thing. And I know they made out Brock wanted to be a breeder, but they never got the Pokemon out enough for me, or seemed particularly skilled to say they used to be gym leaders. I always remember Team Rocket, Jesse and James always ended up wearing women's clothing, which is always a bit weird. I didn't overly care much for the cartoon, but I did watch it, and I've seen a lot of them. But for me it was the game, the game was the amount of hours I must have spent on Pokemon Blue. Hours of wasting time fighting Zubats and Rattatas and grinding to get your levels up, and fighting Gary and him telling me he'd smell me later. I always had an Onix and a Charizard in my squad, two of my favourites. I also liked Magma, even though I was a bum on its head. I've played Red or Fire Red a million times, and I roughly end up with the same team. There's like a roster of 12, depending on who I started with. I always have, and I always end up having like Aerodactyl, like Marowak, try and get Cypher, and a Gyarados or an Arcanine. I end up with the same ones each time, and I don't know how, because each time I go in and go, "I'm going to try someone different," and I go, "Well, I'm not going to use this Oddish. Oh, I don't care for Mankey," and then I end up with the same team. I remember the cheat as well on Pokemon Blue, where you went down to a coast. There's a little island just down from your town, and if you swim up and down the coast, a weird random Pokemon appears, which just looks like a glitch. And if you catch it, it makes the 5th item down or something like that on your in your pack. It means you get 99 items. So you could actually put a rare candy in that slot. So I did that, and I leveled up all my Pokemon, and then I felt really bad because I just cheated and it ruined the game. I remember the biggest thing was the cards. Pokemon cards came in, and everyone wanted them, and it became like an underground world of Pokemon cards.
The hard kids were the ones who had like the knockoff cards. It's almost like it filtered out in exact proportionate ways. Like all the popular ones had the best cards, and the trampy kids had the Caterpie that somebody else had thrown on the floor. And yeah,
I didn't have the card. I had a few cards, but my brother went crazy for them, and I used to try and play the game.
You have a set amount of cards that go together and work together to like have a sneaky tactic that everybody knows about. So then everybody builds these specific decks, and then you've got to have a deck that either can put up with that or specifically. And it's too much of an ask for me. I like the idea of like being, if I was a kid and like getting the cards together yourself and playing your friend. Like now the availability of playing it is with people that have spent far too much time and money in doing it properly.
I created my own version with my brother, played it like twice, and decided it was a lot of effort because I had a game that did the same thing. I remember the movie coming out as well, and they gave cards out at the start of the movie, and there was only 4 you could get, and that was exciting because you used to go in and get a card. It was like an added bonus. The movie was terrible. Something about Mewtwo and Mew and the introduction of this, that and the other. The first half, it's a weird film actually. It's like nothing much happens in it at all, but it's still cool because Mewtwo's there. I love Mewtwo.
Even I didn't want to go and see the film because I thought that was a little bit too lame. But some people did go and see it. But I like that to me was a bit too far because it was going to the cinema to see Pokemon.
I just find it weird because they always say in the first generation, oh, there's 150 Pokemon, but the 150th Pokemon is Mewtwo, who's a clone of Mew. So it's like the clone of someone who's 151. I find that weird. So they were our Pokemon memories. Let us know yours in the comments below.
And don't forget you can go to our website www.weeklygeekspeak.com and read blogs and listen to the podcast and also contribute your own stuff. That was fresh.